A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a dramatic turn of events, the G20 summit held at the NASREC Expo Centre in Johannesburg has marked a significant fracture in the post-1945 international order. The summit, hosted by South Africa under the theme of solidarity, equality, sustainability, culminated in the adoption of the Johannesburg Declaration, a document that was finalized without the United States' participation for the first time in history. The absence of the U.S. delegation, which boycotted the proceedings, has led to the emergence of a G19 order, where the Global South, supported by China and a pragmatic Europe, is poised to move forward independently of Washington. The Johannesburg Declaration calls for a staggering $5.9 trillion in climate finance and demands urgent reforms to the United Nations Security Council, signaling a formal acknowledgement of the widening gap between the global North and South. The declaration's adoption reflects a significant shift in global power dynamics, with developing nations taking the lead in addressing climate change and other pressing issues. The summit's drama unfolded as U.S. negotiators withdrew from the diplomatic drafting process, citing concerns over the declaration's implications for the U.S. economy. The White House characterized the summit as a theater of anti-Americanism, further deepening the divide between the U.S. and its allies. President Cyril Ramaphosa, facing a choice between a failed summit or breaking the consensus rule, invoked the African philosophy of Ubuntu to push for the declaration's adoption among the remaining members. The declaration has been hailed as the most progressive document in G20 history, moving away from previous frameworks that emphasized financial aid to a more obligation-based approach to climate finance. It explicitly states that developing countries require an estimated $5.8 to $5.9 trillion to meet their climate goals before 2030, reframing the discussion around climate responsibility and accountability. In addition to climate finance, the declaration operationalizes the Global Alliance Against Hunger and Poverty, pledging concrete support from the EU and China for agricultural technology transfers to Africa. It also calls for urgent reforms to the UN Security Council, demanding permanent seats for Africa, and endorses an AI for Africa initiative aimed at democratizing access to digital resources. China emerged as a key player during the summit, positioning itself as a champion of the Global South in the absence of the U.S. Premier Li Qiang emphasized China's reliability as a partner for developing nations and pledged to work towards implementing the Johannesburg Vision. Meanwhile, the European Union found itself in a difficult position, balancing its political alignment with the U.S. on issues like Ukraine, while also recognizing its economic interests in Africa. In an effort to mitigate the fallout from the U.S. boycott, the EU announced a significant investment package for South Africa. The absence of the U.S. also allowed Russia to navigate the summit with ease, as the usual contentious debates over the war in Ukraine were notably subdued. The final declaration acknowledged human suffering in both Ukraine and Gaza without directly naming aggressors, which allowed Russia to sign on without resistance. Economically, the implications of the summit are already being felt. The South African rand experienced volatility, dropping significantly against the dollar amid fears of U.S. trade retaliation. Concerns are mounting that the Trump administration may respond to the U.S. boycott by revoking South Africa's access to the African Growth and Opportunity Act, which could have dire consequences for key sectors like automotive and agriculture. Conversely, the breakdown of G20 coordination has led to a surge in interest for non-sovereign assets, with gold prices reaching record highs and Bitcoin experiencing a significant uptick. Analysts are speculating whether the G20 can continue to function effectively without the U.S., with some suggesting that the group has effectively mutated into a G19. As we look ahead to the future, the implications of the Johannesburg summit and the adoption of the declaration will continue to unfold. The U.S.'s absence may have been intended to delegitimize the proceedings, but it has instead accelerated the multipolarity that it seeks to contain. The Johannesburg Declaration stands as a testament to a world that is learning to operate without American consensus, marking a new chapter in international relations. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.